Welcome to There Must Be More, a Bethel, Ottawa podcast. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube at Bethel, Ottawa, and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify podcasts.
Welcome to today's podcast. It's so great to have you here with us. I'm excited to be here. I'm way more excited than last week.
Yeah.
Like last week, I was mildly pleased. But this week, I am thrilled to be here. How are you doing, Pastor Sarah?
I am awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think that everybody who is watching is awesome as well?
I hope so.
Me too. I really hope
I'm sure
they
not
are.
everybody is, but I hope you are.
And I hope
at the very least.
today's podcast brightens your day.
Yeah. So thanks for listening and tracking with us. And
I'm going to ask
coming back
right off the bat that you do something for me.
Me?
Not you.
Oh, okay.
Them.
It's like me.
Yeah, I was looking to approval. I thought maybe you knew what I was talking about.
Now I do.
Okay. If you could go ahead and share this, give us a like or a subscribe, whatever. I mean, you can wait till the end if you want to see if you actually want to.
Yeah.
But you know what? Otherwise, you could
we're going to say you're going to like it.
You're going to like it. So just give us a thumbs up.
Yes,
that helps
subscribe.
us. It helps us get the message out.
It does.
Okay, so that's all I have to say about that. Or wait, 5 stars on Spotify and or Apple podcasts.
There you go.
Okay.
Now they got the business out of the way.
The business is
done.
Yeah, I got to remember to do that at the end too.
Yeah, we always forget. We just go, thanks, love you, bye.
Yeah, thanks, love you, bye.
It's all right.
Okay, so last week we talked about relationships.
Yep.
But we only talked about a portion of relationships.
We talked about friendships. So last week's episode was part 1 of the conversation, and now it's part 2.
It's part 2.
I'm very excited because, Rob, this week we are talking all about romantic relationships. Oh my gosh, so fun.
What are we doing? We're drinking the tea? No, we're we're tipping the tea?
No.
What is it?
What? The tea is hot. We're talking.
We're talking about
sipping the tea.
We're sipping the tea.
Sipping the tea.
Is that what it's called when you talk about
things?
I
guess so.
I don't know. You had a phrase. What was it?
Now you're making me blank in my mind.
Oh,
it's
wow.
just like question marks.
Okay.
Spill the tea.
We're spilling the tea.
Oh, I was like, drink the tea. That doesn't sound right.
No.
Yeah,
okay, we're gonna talk about romance.
Romance.
Right here. Right now.
Romantic. You know that movie, Blended, when she goes, so romantic. Do you know that movie?
No.
With Adam Sandler and Drew
I know the movie. I don't remember that part. No.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's what it made me
romance.
Think of. Yes.
Here it goes.
Yeah.
How important is it to you, Sarah?
Oh my gosh, we're diving right on in. Okay. Romantic relationships. Romantic love. I love love.
Oh, do you? Actually? Why am I even saying that? Yeah, you do.
Know this. Yeah. I love love. I love to watch romantic movies, romantic comedies, a little Jennifer Gardner, Mark Ruffalo.
Did you call her Jennifer Gardner?
Jennifer Gardner.
Garner.
Say it.
Garner. No D.
I'm not saying D. Jennifer.
Do you hear Gardner?
Jennifer Gardner. Wait.
Garner.
Gardner. Am I not saying it right?
It sounds like Gardner.
No.
Wow. Okay.
Wait. Would you like ASMR? Gardner.
There.
Is it? Did I do it right? Anyways.
I couldn't hear you. I'm going to assume that one was right, Garner.
Okay, well, Jennifer Gardner. Anyways. And 13 going on 30, okay? I love that movie. I love the romance. I like to read books that are like romantic comedies. I just like...
You're skipping the big one that you love?
Hallmark movies?
No. Maybe you said it and I wasn't listening.
Okay,
I don't know.
what?
The reality shows?
Oh, gosh. You
were skipping it.
I love love shows.
Like I was telling her today, just today, this farm thing, and she's like, oh yeah. She's all about it.
Farmers finding love.
Yeah.
It's
and
Canadian.
Apparently her and her dad are already like, yeah, we're all about this.
You want to know where I get my love of reality TV? It's from my father.
What's your dad's name again?
Dan. Daniel Colantonio Jr.
You are responsible. For her love.
Love is Blind.
For The Bachelor.
Love Island. The Bachelor.
Love is Blind.
Farmer.
Farmy love.
Anyways, I just love to see people in love. It's like my favorite thing. So, for me personally, on that note, I love romance.
Okay.
What's wrong with romance? Is it the most important thing to me in the world?
Yeah.
No. It's not.
No.
It's not the number 1 most important thing. Mm-hmm. Not the number 2 most important thing.
Okay.
But I would love a little romance for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually what I don't, I mean, you can love Jennifer Garner but and her movies, but I was wondering more like how important to you is finding that romantic relationship.
Yeah.
And I mean, your passion for all these other areas of like TV and reality TV and movies and kind of points to, seems like you might really care about it.
I do care about it.
Cool.
I for sure would like, do you know in New Girl when Nick is talking about romance and he goes, I want to be loved. I want to be romance. I want to be thing. And Winston is like, why are you yelling? He goes, because I'm embarrassed. That's what I thought of when he did that. He's like embarrassed.
Is that how you
about his
feel?
No.
Oh, you're not embarrassed at all.
I'm not embarrassed. No. Please, I just told everybody who's listening to this that I'm like love Hallmark and reality love shows.
Hallmark is a problem.
Listen, they're wholesome. They make you feel good.
Okay. So
yeah.
You like it?
I love romance.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, with that.
Yep.
How's that gone for you?
Currently, not well. Currently, at this moment in time, in June of 2023, not good.
Did I say that? Did I ask that like not very kindly?
No, because I know you know me, and like we talk about this all the time. I'm really.
But I'm asking you to reveal it in front of tens of people.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, it's not going great, guys. You want to know why it's not going great?
What?
Because men just don't ask women out as much as they used to.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like,
and
it's not just, you could be like, Sarah, maybe that's because they're just not interested in you. True, could be, and that's fine. But even like my friends, where we're at the same point in life, that's just kind of like, there's an epidemic happening with some of the men, I think. Not all of them, because some of them are great. And this isn't like, I hate men. I love men. I think men are the coolest. But... But right now, currently, it's not going great. I'm not seeing anybody. And I don't have any like prospects lined up, if that's what you're asking. My friends have tried to set me up, and like that's been cool, but like didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So part of part of what you're talking about, I think you're right. I think that guys are less inclined to go and approach. I think that's truly, like, it's especially true with Christian guys.
Yes. And I will say I'm a lot. Like, so.
How so? Like, what do you mean? Like, do you mean like they should be scared of approaching you?
No. I'm literally like the nicest human.
Yeah. Second nicest.
I think I'm pretty nice. But I'm a lot in my personality. Like, I have a big personality.
Yeah, you've got a big personality.
I'm loud. I laugh really loud. Like,
we've got it. On tape.
Recorded. It's on tape for everybody.
I just said tape and you said record. Oh, no.
No, I'm so old. Oh,
my old is wearing off on you.
Yeah, you're rubbing off and get away from me.
Yeah, right? Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So I think, all that I'm saying is, for Christians, especially I'm in a leadership position, like I work at a church, right? And so I think it's a little intimidating. Not that I think I'm intimidating, because I don't think I'm intimidating. I'm not trying to like gas myself up or anything like this. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do here. Yeah. But I think for some guys, especially if you're like introverted, like you're like, whoa, that girl is a lot, and like I can't even go like talk to her because it's just she's a lot.
Yeah. I think that there would be definitely a fear for some guys approaching a pastor.
What are you like? Oh, okay.
Right? Like a
fear
female
of rejection?
pastor, a single. Well, no, just
think?
like, what am I getting into?
Yeah.
Like, does this mean now I am like a pastor's husband? Or like, what is my future with this?
Yeah.
Like,
or they
you're
think
called
like, now I'm so holy. I'm not that holy. I just told you I watch reality TV.
Or I can never tell her my mess. If she actually knew me.
Do you know, I've never thought of that.
Yeah. I think that's real. Because like, think of how many pastors you wouldn't like want to know every little detail of your life, right? Yeah. Now you're going to get into a relationship with this person. And it's like, okay, do I have to like confess to them? What do they like? Or do I want to find somebody who's more of a mess like me? And like, that's a fallacy.
I never thought
that's
that.
a fallacy.
Yeah, it's
like
not
pastors
true,
are not so much better
than
other people.
I literally just told you I watch like Love Island.
Yeah, that does make you a problem. But people, I do think it.
Yeah.
Like, because you see it when people think that pastors' prayers are more powerful, or that we're more anointed, or that somehow
it's not true at all.
No, right?
We serve the same God.
Absolutely,
the same
and we
God.
need Him the same amount.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think that.
I've never
think
thought of
you're
it like
right
that.
about how men are approaching women.
Yeah.
And I think it's amplified because you're a pastor.
Yeah.
So I'm
I have
sorry.
like 2 strikes against me. I'm loud and I'm a pastor.
You're a loud pastor.
I'm a loud pastor.
Yeah.
Put that in my bio.
Well, good luck with that. No. Can I ask you how does this affect you? Like, I remember when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wanted the deep relationship of marriage, and it kept not happening for me because I would date. I literally, before I met Shannon, my longest relationship was 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was I was a hot mess of and the types of break, I was just a turd.
What do you mean?
It
Were you a
depends on,
bad boy?
I don't know what you mean. Like, so not intentionally. I was never like,
girls always like love the bad boy. Like,
no.
Okay.
I wasn't like, you wouldn't have looked at me and gone, oh, he's a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been the bad boy. I would have been the appearance of nice.
But not actually. That's worse than the bad boy.
I would run, but I would run.
Oh, you didn't like commitment.
I didn't like
You were
commitment.
scared.
I was scared.
Yeah.
And I would find the littlest thing in people to reject them. Oh. But it was...
You were looking for an out all the time.
Always.
Okay.
Always.
But why were you doing that?
I don't...
You didn't want to be rejected?
I believe it was because the basis I had of Christianity in my life, I knew actually that this wasn't... Even though I wasn't following Jesus.
Yeah, but you knew that wasn't what you should be doing.
God knew for me that what I believed was, and me and Shannon both had this when we met, it was like, when we get married, it's for life.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not even, like, it's just
I agree.
not even
Yeah.
kind of on the table.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it never has been.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure there's times where I've made her think for a second. But it's just, and that was never, I didn't see that in other people.
Yeah.
So I did all of I appeared nice. Mm-hmm. I lived like a fool, so I looked like the world.
Yeah.
And then I acted like a fool.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, yeah. That's
So
unfortunate.
So
okay.
I don't
You're
remember
different
why
now.
we went down this trail and why I decided to reveal all that information
because you made me reveal mine.
I think I had a question for you, but I can't even think of what it was now.
You wanted marriage.
You wanted that.
Marriage.
Yeah. And you want that.
Yep.
How?
For sure.
So I was finally married at 27.
Yeah. Okay.
27?
That's
Shannon,
a good age.
how old was I,
27 is a good age.
Yeah, okay.
27 is a good age.
She was younger than that?
Yeah.
How do you feel at, how old are you?
30.
I didn't want to reveal that.
Fine.
So,
it's all right. No shame in it.
yeah,
Listen,
no.
we're putting it out there.
Just, I know some women will be like,
oh, I don't care.
reveal my
I look
age.
like I'm 18. So
Yeah,
it's
right?
look so young.
How do you feel at 30 with, like you just said, the prospects aren't there?
Yeah. I had this guy come up to me, young adults, and we're just like talking. I'm like, oh, he's nice, like whatever. Yeah. He was like 21. I was like, I have got to go.
Yeah.
I'm like 30. I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm saying he was interested in me or anything, but we were just talking. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
this guy is
yeah.
nice. And then he was like talking to me about his midterms, and I was like, oh, wait a second. And he was like, I'm 21. I said, it was so nice to meet you. Anyways, the question was, is it hard?
I remember it being. I remember there being hard times when, like,
yeah, I think there's hard.
let down almost.
Yeah, there's hard instances. I'm not one of those girls who sits around and like just pines to be married, you know, because I have, and that's okay, because if that's a desire that you really want, that's real and that's fair.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have friends who are in this position of like, they really want to be married and they thought they'd be married by now and they're my age or a little bit older. And, you know, sometimes there's a tendency to just like sit around and be like, but like my life doesn't start when I get married. Like I've been living my life. It's huge.
Yeah.
So there's times when it is hard because then you see like my brother's getting married and like that's so exciting. And I'm like, hey, but like, am I just gonna be single for forever?
Yeah.
And like, if I am, like maybe like let me know. Like God,
Right?
let me know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's it comes in like waves. I would say.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm content.
Yeah.
Like where I am because I know God has got me, but there are times where I'm like,
So
this person getting engaged, this person's getting engaged.
Right.
I'm like, what is happening? What's in the water? Because I'm not drinking it.
can I ask you like a
Yeah.
personal question?
Yeah.
So What if the answer came to you today that you would be single for the rest of your life?
I'd be pretty mad.
Yeah.
Thank God for a little bit, probably.
Yeah.
And be like, why didn't you bring this to my attention yesterday?
But
or like years ago.
Would it have mattered years ago? Would you'd still
yes,
be,
because I would have more time to like ease into this. Like, you're going to tell me
wouldn't
now.
there be an instance of ignorance is bliss?
Maybe.
Right? Like,
Yeah, I'd be mad, actually. I'd be pretty mad at God if he was just
I think you'd be just as mad at 23 as you would at 30.
Yeah, maybe. I think I would be, just because I have that desire and I've seen like really good marriages modeled and like healthy, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to say God maybe would have revealed that to me already.
I think.
Or maybe I'm just ignoring him.
No, I
don't think so.
Yeah.
But
no. And
yeah.
I think that it's important that if there's something he's put on our heart that we hope for it, right?
Yeah.
And it might be this year. It might be next year. It might be
Yeah.
5 years
It might
from
be like
now.
10
It might be
years
10
from now.
years
It might
from
be
now.
15 years from now.
It might be 30 years from now.
Yeah, don't say that.
But there's,
30?
There's
I will be 60.
There is a human being out there right
Lord
now
have
who's
mercy.
30 years old who isn't going to get married till they're 60. Like,
Yeah.
that's just
I hope that's
real
not
for
me.
somebody. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I love you, whoever you are, but I hope that's not me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
No, so I would be, I'd be a little bit upset. I would adjust, obviously, because like, what can I really do?
Well, it is the reality for some people.
So for some people.
That you're going to be single your whole life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's okay.
Yeah, of course it's okay.
It's viewed as a negative thing.
Right.
Like when people come up to me all the time and say, "Where's your husband?" And I said, "I don't know. When you find him, let me know."
They do?
Yes. It's like when people ask you, like, when are you going to have a baby? None of your business, first of all.
Of course, none of your business.
Yeah, so I have people come up to me and say, like, oh, like, are you seeing anybody? No. And they're like, oh, it's okay. I'm like, I know it's okay. I'm like, but it makes me sound like a sad sack. Like, I promise you, I'm okay.
Yeah, totally.
Do I have a desire? Absolutely. Do I
Yeah.
trust God? I do, most of the time. Sometimes,
Yes.
you have questions, but it's just like...
Yes.
So
but come
I
on
think
now. We have that in a lot of areas. So yes.
Oh yeah, right. And so I think sometimes like singleness is viewed as a lesser than,
right?
Or viewed as like, oh, nobody wanted to be with you, nobody picked you.
Right.
First of all, I'm also the chooser.
Like
we're especially as women, and when we're little girls, we're taught, you're going to get married, someone's going to pick you, and you're going to be his wife. And like someone does choose me, but I also get to choose who's going to be my husband. It's all hinged on somebody's going to choose you. And you're waiting until that lucky day when somebody comes and finds you and they say like, oh, like I want to be your husband. And like, that's beautiful. But like, I also get to choose. So like,
and I
there's
think
a difference.
That's huge. Yeah. And hopefully dads are listening to this because that is why you model what it's like when you love your wife.
That's good.
So that your daughters
really
watch what they should choose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
really
I'm glad
good.
you brought that up because I'm a dad of 3 girls, right? And so am I perfect?
No.
No.
Yeah.
But how I love her is how I hope they seek out to be loved by their
that is so important and vital.
Totally.
Like from the youngest of it, like as young as Lainey is.
Yeah.
All the way up.
Yeah. And obviously I think you hit something so important that we're not lesser than because we're single. And we talked about that in the myths.
Yep.
Like coming together doesn't make you whole.
No.
Jerry Maguire is the stupidest movie ever made.
Because that's like You Complete Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. As swoon worthy as that is, and like the romance in me is like, so cute.
Barf.
It's kind of like vomit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting that you said that. So you've been married, you said 18 years, which like that's a big deal.
It will be 18. July
That's a big
30th.
deal. Because sometimes I hear that and a little bit of me panics.
Why?
And so maybe that's why I'm so single.
Why does that make you panic?
Because that's a long time to...
You don't want to be married that long?
No. Like, that's just a long time with one person.
Yeah.
And, like, all the things that you go through anyways. Yeah. So that's a big accomplishment to me personally. And
most of that is Shannon's ability to put up with nonsense.
We love Shannon, the goddess. Okay.
She put up with a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did call her that, didn't you, at a different episode?
Yeah, I just like calling her that. Yeah. Because she is.
And I was like...
Okay. Yes. Okay. So you've been married 18 years. Yeah. So is there something that you wish that you knew about you, about marriages, like whatever, before you got married that you could say to people who are just kind of listening? Because we're talking about romantic relationships and things like that.
Yeah. I definitely wish I knew how much it wasn't about me and what I get.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Because, and I'm still not great at this, but hopefully I get better over a lifetime. The more I meet Shannon's need, the more my needs are just met.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's this notion, I think, with a lot of people, and why I would see a lot of breakups, because I do have people who come around me and talk about marriage issues. And like, I just think that often we're very worried about what we're not getting out of a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like, but if you just go meet the other person's needs, they're going to feel like they're loved, like
Secure.
they're valued, like they're respected, like they're safe. And then they're going to much more easily return that which you need.
Yeah.
Right? So I wish I knew to take myself out of like my own desires, needs, wants, care for those a little bit less and care for Shannon a little bit more. I think we would have gotten, because I feel like we're in a really great place. Mind, like we meld, like we both have similar vision. We talk, we're friends. Everything is so great in our relationship. And it wasn't always that way. It wasn't awful by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it might have been harder for her early on.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think I started out as the husband that I should have been and could have been.
Right.
And so I think that maybe there's a little bit of regret there, but even then you don't stay there, because we've moved past. I just feel like maybe if I'd cottoned on to some of the things earlier, that it would have been even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of,
interesting.
I don't really worry about like, I don't know. I don't worry about who, I don't know. I think that's really the only thing, because like my stresses around who I was all changed when I gave my life to Jesus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like if the same question were to be asked before I knew Jesus, I would have had a myriad of like I was a different person.
Different answers,
so I would have worried about so many other things that didn't matter.
Right.
Right? Like what our careers would be, how much money we were going to save, how many kids, all those kind of things. We figured those out as we went.
Yeah. Yeah, you like grew together.
We grew together.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I really wish. Actually, you know what? Maybe another thing would have been to really love God well together. Not that we don't do that, but I think involving Him in a lot more early on, maybe would have saved us from some struggles. I don't know. I'm looking to her like, I mean, early on we just did life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can edit the nonsense in there, because I said a lot of I don't know
and
what.
that it makes sense, because when you two are coming together, like you didn't live together, obviously. Like, so you're learning how to coexist and create like a new life, but two people together. And like that takes time, and like that's hard, and there will be hardships in that for sure. So
I think I'd like to I think our relationship kills some existing ideas of what relationships need beforehand. Like, so are we sexually compatible? I think that's a fallacy of an idea. Like, I don't think you need to.
That's the whole, like, you gotta test drive it before you buy it.
Totally.
I hate that.
Baloney.
That's disgusting.
Baloney.
I'm sorry.
Because if you care for each other, that grows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Living together to see if we
You
can
need to be attracted. I'm not saying like
yes.
there needs to be attraction.
Yes.
But the whole test drive before you drive it, I personally I'm not
that.
a fan. Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's a fallacy. I also think living together beforehand is a fallacy. We need to know if we're compatible. It's like, what? Like, unless you're not willing to work and care for the other person, you should be able to get through most things. Like, and how do you not know your compatibility on some level before you get married?
Like,
right?
you should kind of already know that.
Yeah. And like me and Shannon were.
How long did you date?
Before what?
Before you got married?
We met and were married within the year.
The same year?
Same year.
Sweating.
Yeah.
The same year.
No regrets, like whatsoever.
No regrets.
No.
Not even a letter. Do you know that movie?
No.
Okay, forget it. Okay, a year.
Is it some love movie? Is it a kissing movie?
No. Is this a kissing book? No. Okay, 1 year.
Yeah.
Good for you.
We knew though.
You knew your That was it. Yeah.
But it also helped that we just knew our ideal of marriage.
Yeah.
We both had parents who stayed married. So, I mean, that is helpful.
Yeah.
Not that it's like
Necessary.
no.
Yep.
But we both were like, this is
This
it.
is what you want.
Like,
yeah. You both.
But that was even unspoken on some, I don't know. It's just like,
wow.
We
That
really
stresses
are
me
when
out.
you know, kind of.
Yeah, everyone says that, and until I guess I get that, I'm not gonna understand.
Which is really interesting because I couldn't figure that out. When I was single, I could not figure that out.
Yep.
That you actually and the releasing. Oh my. Because I did want it. And as
Yeah.
like a guy who kind of was just following the world,
Yeah.
I wanted that.
Yeah.
And it never ever worked. And I
Yeah.
sabotaged. And there were 2 times I had my heart broken. But it was still within that nice 3-month range. But
Staying true to the 3-month range.
yeah. Let's keep it within that.
Yeah. That window.
But I honestly gave it up. I said, like, I'm releasing this. Like, I do want it,
Yeah.
but it's not a driving factor in my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And as soon as I did that, honestly,
Shannon appeared.
Shannon appeared.
Like the goddess she is.
Yep. And specifically when I was talking to the Lord and saying, I don't want to meet somebody right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, when I say it like in a sermon, I'm like, I don't want to meet a Christian woman. I think it was more like, I want to focus on you, on this relationship,
Yeah,
God.
first,
and so
yeah.
I'm pushing that aside.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not here at church
Yeah.
to
Look
meet a
on
woman.
the prowl.
Yes.
Yes. Because so many single people, so many single people go to church because they want to see who's available. Who's there? Is there going to be cute guys? Is there going to be a cute girl? And then they go to different churches and hop because they just want to meet somebody.
Thing I don't regret was respecting the boundaries that we set before marriage of no sex before marriage.
Yeah.
And I came from the opposite side
so
of the
let's
tracks.
let's talk about that because that's very real for people.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you want to know?
Okay. So you're talking about boundaries,
Yeah.
like you just said. You and Shannon had boundaries and you kept them. So for those of us who are listening, who are in a relationship and they're trying to keep boundaries or they're struggling or whatever that may be, what did that look like for you? Like, did you together talk and say, this is what we're doing, we're going to stick to it? Or how did that work for you guys?
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
just said no sex before marriage.
Yeah.
And we communicated our comfort levels and
Right.
we were open. We talked. It wasn't a weird thing.
Yeah.
And we stuck with what we believed God wanted us to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So like communication is vital there, and being in any way pushed away you don't want to go, like don't let that happen. And if you're the one sort of trying to push, don't.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to regret it. Just be
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah.
Be patient, right?
Yeah.
Now the difficulty is that different people have different ideas of what's okay. So I'm not going to speak to that.
Yeah.
Because like for one
That's your own
person, we can have this
relationship.
conversation and be like, you leave room for the Holy Spirit for
8
2
feet.
years.
Yeah.
And then the next person's going to be like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to comment on that.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you that
From your experience.
Be open and honest and set your boundaries.
Yeah.
And do it by what you believe the Bible tells you,
Yeah.
not what your urges tell
Yeah.
you.
Or the world.
Yeah.
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 That's major. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. I think that would be really helpful for people who are listening.
Yeah.
So that's good.
No regrets.
Thanks for sharing. No regrets.
No regrets.
Thanks for sharing.
So that question's asked to me, what do I wish? Was maybe I knew beforehand, right? So you're in the beforehand.
Yep.
Right? What do you feel
Yeah.
you would like to work on before you get married?
Ooh. Okay.
Like, do you even think about it?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely do.
Oh, yeah?
Because I've seen marriages around me modeled really well and then not well at all, right? So especially now that I'm older, like in my early 20s, I wasn't thinking about any of this, right? But now that I'm older and like, my friends are getting married and what their relationships look like, and then my brother, and then I see my parents and I see, people around me, it makes you evaluate and think like, am I good at this? Am I really bad at this? Am I like, and so, yeah, things that I work on still
Yeah.
is my communication.
Okay.
I'm a really good communicator.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really good at telling you, like, you crossed my boundary.
Okay.
Or what you said really hurt me and upset me. What I'm not good at, we're getting very real.
Yeah.
What I'm not good at is not being passive aggressive.
Oh, really?
Sometimes.
Okay. How does that look?
So it could be like, okay, like we talked about it, we did it. It's still like the same day. I'm still annoyed at you.
Oh.
So then I could be passive aggressive.
Okay.
Right. And so this is something that
So
I've
then
had
it's
to
like,
work on.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. And I hate that because I've seen somebody in my life like do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm never going to do that. And then I'm doing it. I'm like, no. Oh, no, that's me. Anyways, I have a therapist and I've been going to therapy for years, not just for that, for other things. But she helps me so much.
Oh, that's but you're aware of it.
I'm aware of it. So like that's something that I have to be aware of because I don't want to bring that into a marriage.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be passive aggressive to my husband because that's first of all rude and so unnecessary, especially when it's dealt with, right? Like so there's that. If I'm being very practical and honest, that for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you? Oh, I had it in my head, and it's like it flew away. Do you feel like there's something that you need to understand about yourself before, like, as an individual? Like, do you need to be a certain kind of okay with yourself before you get married?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What? This is like I'm making you like reveal everything. This is
all of my secrets. Yeah. No. It's totally fine.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's things that people, let's go just in general, do you feel like there's something that people need to recognize about themselves before they get married?
For sure. I think this is a very like hot topic in the fact that it's just like everyone's talking about this all the time. And so some people are like, don't necessarily agree with this or agree with this. Whatever.
Okay.
You need to like actually love yourself, and like you'll never like you're not going to fully ever. I don't think love yourself as much as you can because there's the world is talking to you and social media and all these things and like your mind, like all the things, right? So I think that you need to be secure in who you are as a person, and so because I'm a Christian, I need to be secure in who I am. In God, like who God says I am, what God says I am, and what He calls me to be, and all those things. I need to like be secure in myself before I can enter into union with somebody else. And not to say that like things are gonna pop up because they will. Like I'm never gonna be. I don't think I'm ever fully gonna be ready for marriage.
Right.
Like because you're just not because you're growing with somebody and things are always changing and like right. Okay. So for me personally, that's something that I have to recognize.
Yes, and I think more people should.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually really love that you brought that up. Like, people, I think, don't necessarily take the time to think about who they are before getting married. I think that they just sort of jump into it.
Yeah.
And then are shocked by how they respond, even in different instances, fights. And there's so much value in how we do the work beforehand. If I can
listen,
know who I am ahead of time, I can recognize when I'm acting out of line with my character or I'm responding by my emotions, those kind of things. Super valuable. I think that the loving yourself part it's a crazy one because it's really difficult. And I think while you say, that we will never really fully love ourselves like this certain way, I also, because I agree, I also think that we do love ourselves. Like, I think that there's a both. Like, I think maybe we don't love ourselves properly.
In the right way.
But there is a thing we have to recognize that we care for ourselves tremendously.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Literally why I put pants on today.
Yeah.
Because I care about how I'm perceived by people.
Yeah.
I care about my wellness.
Yeah.
If I just went and did a bunch of crazy things, I would hurt my life.
Yeah.
It's why we try and eat healthy or even sometimes why we don't eat healthy because we're trying to protect ourselves. Like there's a ton of things we do that is trying to show ourselves love.
Yeah.
I think when we get inward focused before, say, marriage, we make the mistake of trying to love ourselves so powerfully that we don't love others.
Right.
Right? Like, I think there's a danger there of saying, I need to work on me. And in doing that, we neglect any of the outside.
Yeah.
It's almost like an inward church. Right? It's like a church that thinks inward. What happens?
Yeah.
It dies, it dies, it
Yeah.
dies. You want to love.
Slowly.
You want to love others.
Yeah.
Or love this next person who's going to
Yeah.
come into your life. Or love yourself.
Yeah.
Get busy loving people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, there's just this sort of interesting fine line of, we need to love ourselves better. But I think that the way we do that is by loving others.
Yeah. That's so good. I love that. Okay, so we're talking about romantic relationships, right? And so last week we touched on this with friendships. We talked about being equally yoked. And so that essentially just means that you have the same spiritual beliefs. Like, you believe Jesus is the Son of God. You believe in the Holy Spirit. For us, we believe that Jesus died and rose again, right? So that's being equally yoked as I am going to date somebody or be with somebody who believes those same things. So let's talk about, Rob, the importance of that. What does that mean for us in romantic relationships? Why is that so important? Can we go without it?
Okay, so like we talked about it with friendship, and I think that's a whole different level because it's just so much more important in romance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So starter, what are you going to do in the months leading up to your wedding? Is it premarital sex or no?
Yeah.
Right? One person's got biblical standards.
Yep.
Another person doesn't.
Yep.
Well, and then we know the scripture tells us what happens when we are allowing other people's lower moral standards to direct our lives, right? It hurts us, right?
Causes you to make bad choices.
But then there's just practicalities. So, like, how do you spiritually turn to your spouse when you're dry? Right? Like how do you find the same hope? What do you teach your kids? Like,
It's a big
right?
one. Yep.
Are you going to church on Sunday?
Yeah. Are you going by yourself?
Okay, and so for the couples that like are both believers, it's hard enough to go to church on Sundays. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Sleeping in sounds pretty good.
It's nice, right?
Right?
I know.
Now you've got the person that you love and share life with saying,
just skip today.
Right?
Doesn't matter.
Or even just their life is like they're waking up making French toast at 10, but you're all
and you're like, it smells so good. I don't want to go to church.
I'm out the door. You've slept in. I'm grumpy. I got to get the kids ready for church because I believe they need to go to church. And you're actually making this difficult for me. Why am I going to church when dad doesn't even go to church?
Gosh.
Like, there is so much that comes into play in our lives as we live out marriage that especially like me and Shannon use the Bible for guidance, right? I don't know what I do if I talk to her and she doesn't get it. Like, I need to be led by the Lord. And she goes, huh?
Yeah.
Like
why? Yeah.
Yeah. So us being on the same page that way, it helps.
Yep.
It's not more like you're adding a difficulty no matter what.
Yeah.
If you're not in the same belief.
Yeah. There's a scripture that I want to read.
Okay.
Okay. It's a good one.
Yeah.
This is from the Message translation.
Yeah.
And so this talks about the unequally yoked and yoked part of what the Bible is asking us to do. And so like me as a single person right now, like I know that I can't be with somebody who doesn't love the Lord. And not just doesn't love the Lord, because you could say, oh yeah, I love God, I'm a Christian, but does your life show that?
Right.
Is there fruit? Like, you know, so I'm not just saying, I gotta love the Lord. It's like, no, like Jesus needs to
Obey.
be, you need to know what the word says. You need to live it out as the best that you can. Anyways, so in 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14. Wow, there we are.
Yeah, there
we
are.
We did it. This is what it says about being unequally yoked with a partner. Okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Buckle up.
I'm ready.
Okay.
This is Eugene Peterson's version.
Yeah, this is the Message. It looks really funny on the video, but I can't see.
We'll bounce back.
Okay. It says, don't become partners with those who reject God. How can you make a partnership out of right and wrong? That's not partnership. That's war. Oh my gosh. Okay. Is light best friends with the dark? Does Christ go strolling with the devil? Do trust and mistrust hold hands? Oh my gosh. Who would think of setting up pagan idols in God's holy temple? But that is exactly what we are. Each of us is a temple in whom God lives. God himself put it this way. I'll live in them, move into them. I'll be their God, and they'll be my people. So leave the corruption and compromise. Hear that word, compromise?
That's a big one.
Single people, are we listening? Leave it for good, says God. Don't link up with those who will pollute you. I want you all for myself. I'll be a father to you. You'll be sons and daughters to me. The word of the Master God.
Wow. Big ones there. War.
Compromise.
Compromise.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's listen to me. Listen to me, okay? I've gone on dates with people recently-ish who were not Christian because I can get tired of waiting. That is called compromise. I am compromising what God wants for me. I'm compromising what God asks me to do. And I'm compromising what I want because I don't want to be married to somebody who's not Christian.
Yeah.
Right? So as much as like good looking as the guy is, as nice as he is, as much chemistry as we have, I had to be like, sorry, like this is just, I'm sorry. Like you're amazing. Like it sucks.
It's also not fair to them.
And it's not fair to them. Like I'm compromising myself, but then I'm also compromising him.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
So there's this like also this aspect of like I think you called it dating missionary or mission. Like,
missionary dating is like what it's coined as. Like, I'll save this guy.
Yeah. And so that I'm not going to say that hasn't worked in the past.
Yeah.
I know that there's people who have sort of connected. I think it's different though. Like there's exceptions. I think those are exceptions.
Yeah.
The notion that you would meet somebody and there's an expectation that you will proselytize them.
Yeah.
Right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
So smart.
Like, you're not, I just think that's unfair to them.
Yes, it
like
is.
You don't start a relationship.
It's fair to both.
You don't start a relationship saying, okay, I'm going to change you.
Oh, gosh.
Like you shouldn't do that on so many levels.
Don't date potential.
So you don't do that in the faith realm.
No.
Right?
And you're just dating potential.
Oh my God.
Don't
That
listen
is
to
one
me.
of the most dangerous
Look
words.
me in the eye
potential.
if you're watching this video. Take it from me, Sarah Colantonio, who loves to date potential. Don't date potential.
But you love to date potential, you said.
Yeah, loved.
Oh, loved. I didn't catch the
loved.
Loved.
Yeah.
Your enunciation is a little bit like Jennifer Gardner.
Don't date potential. That's compromise.
Yeah, no.
Don't do it.
Potential is some of the most dangerous.
Potential is hard. Yeah.
Potential's hard.
Yeah.
Potential's
Just
nothing but potential.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Potential is nothing.
Yeah, trust me.
So, I think that it's a really, really important topic. I think there's a lot of single folks out there who are really hoping for marriage. And I think that makes sense. Like we do hope.
Of course.
And there's nothing wrong with that hope. But I'm going to ask you, because I mean, I've been married for 18 years, right? So like, I'm like an old dog with this thing, like
an old Doug?
Dog. Now that was my enunciation. An old
dog.
Old
Doug.
I'm like, I've been in it for so long. I don't remember what it was like to be single or that kind of stuff. But do you have any sort of last advice for those who desperately want the romantic love? Any advice for them in their singleness?
Yeah, I would say like keep hoping.
Cool.
Like God loves you and he sees you. He hears every prayer that you're praying about this because I guarantee you're talking to him about it. He's listening. If you're not talking to him about it, talk to him about it.
Sure. Yep.
Talk to him about it. If you're trying to control the narrative, it's not going to work. Like you're just going to end up more disappointed and hurt and sad about it. And singleness, being single is okay. Like there's nothing wrong with you if you're single. There's nothing that says you're unattractive if you're single. There's nothing that says you're not wanted or you're not worthy because you are, because God calls you those things first.
Absolutely.
And that's the most important person's opinion of you anyways. So I'd say keep hoping, keep trusting God, go and live your life. Don't sit around and wait for your life to quote unquote begin when you're married because it doesn't.
No.
It's just a different stage of life.
Yep.
Right? And that's beautiful. And there's
Yep.
nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with hoping and wanting. But go live your life. Be intentional with your friends.
Yeah.
Go love your friends really well. Go love your friends' kids really well.
Yeah.
That's something that I do now that my friends are having kids, right?
Yeah.
Go and volunteer in church. Get plugged in. Make sure you're with your friends and you're with your community, that you're spending time with God. Go volunteer. Go, like, you should have a full life. It shouldn't be waiting around for someone to come in.
Absolutely.
And then they're like, oh, okay, now I can do everything I want to do. No. And also, I know one day I'm going to miss living by myself.
Yes.
I'm going to miss having all the time in the world that I get to do whatever I want to do. I could read my books for like 5 hours at a time. And like, there'll just be a day when I won't get to do that.
Put that in the prenup.
So prenup is a whole other thing. So that's my advice to you is like, keep living your life for God, and keep trusting him. And you're as equally as valuable as somebody who's married.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
For me, even though you didn't ask, and
Rob,
I said I was too old.
What would you give?
Just because when you were talking, the thing that I'm reminded of is the release I felt when I released it, right? So if you're really hanging on to it as something, and it's really in what you were saying,
right?
If you're really hanging on to something, this relationship as the thing that's going to define you, or the thing that's going to bring you joy, or the thing that you just need to have, release that and do what she said, and go and live life, and like no expectations other than when it happens, just be ready. Be ready and trust God.
Yep.
Right? So if you can release it, as soon as I released it, it opened.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is weird. That
could happen for you. It could not.
I think I actually changed once I released it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have a death grip on it.
Right. Which means I probably treated Shannon a little differently when I met her than I would have if I was so obsessed about getting married.
Yeah, because we don't want to be desperate people either.
Nope.
We don't, right? We don't want to just like run after every single man that we see, and like we don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
you don't.
No.
You definitely don't.
And I don't want like men to do that to me either. So like it's the same, you know.
Yeah. No, a desperation you can actually see on people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We don't want to be thirsty. We don't want to be thirsty. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have gone on long enough about romance.
Yeah.
Unless there's something that you think we should have talked about.
Yep. Drop it in the comments.
Throw it in the comments.
Tell us.
We talked about singleness. We talked about married life.
Yeah. And this is like really scratching the surface.
It really is.
But yeah.
But
thanks for listening.
Yeah. Oh, and subscribe.
Yes.
5 stars. 6 stars if you can. Like, I don't know if you can, but if you could.
I don't know. I think it's 5. Give us the 5 stars.
You do 5 stars and then go in the comments and say, here's the 6th star.
Yeah. Boom. That's it.
All right.
That's the answer.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to There Must Be More podcast, a production of Bethel, Ottawa. You can catch us on YouTube, where we would love it if you liked and subscribed. You can also catch us on Apple Podcast and Spotify.